Welcome back to For the Home Cook. My name is Cheryl. So throughout this series, we are going to be going through some money saving tips when it comes to our groceries. I know that a lot of us are on a tight budget right now. So my hope is that we can bring you some topics that you'll be able to take with you, save some money while you're grocery shopping. Today is all about buying in bulk. Now, I have been in news for a number of years. And so every time we get into these inflation times or, when people are trying to save money, I write these stories and the experts say, buy in bulk, which sounds great. You buy something right now you don't have to buy it for another 2 or 3 months, but that's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't have that $40 to $100 to spend on those items at that one time. And so we're going to go through some of the things that the experts say to buy in bulk and some that they say absolutely do not. And we're going to take a few of those and actually price them out to see if maybe it's worth your time to buy in bulk. Now, all of these prices I looked up a few days ago, so make sure that once you're watching this that you go check at whatever store that I'm talking about. Those prices may change week to week. They could have a special, the price could just go up, it could go down. So make sure that you check those prices, but we're going to talk about some things that you buy in bulk. So first, let's talk about the advantages of buying in bulk. So lower per unit price when you buy in bulk. So each one of those is going to be less than buying them individually. You're going to have some long-term savings. So you're going to have that upfront cost. And then of course you won't have to buy that thing for hopefully the next few weeks or months. You're going to get a bulk discount. So especially if you live in bigger areas where they have bulk stores, you're going to get a discount the more that you buy, and you're going to make fewer shopping trips. So you don't have to add that to the shopping list. Now, with every advantage, there are also some disadvantages. So let's take a look at those. Of course, we are going to have storage space. So if you buy 87 rolls of toilet paper, where are you going to put that? Not everybody has that space. Also, experts say it encourages overconsumption because if you have 20 sodas at your house, you're going to be more likely to want to drink 20 sodas instead of just having maybe a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack at a time. Also, like we talked about, it's going to cost more up front. So not everybody has that wiggle room in their budget where they can just pay 20 bucks for something that they can pay $5 for. And experts say, depending on what you buy in bulk, it can lead to waste because if you buy some stuff that maybe it goes out of, it goes bad, those things that you keep in your refrigerator or in the pantry that go bad, now you're just wasting. So some things that they say you should buy in bulk. We've got paper towels, toilet paper, batteries, vitamins, diapers, pet food. We also have soap, pasta, and butter. So some of these I'm like, absolutely, let's buy those in bulk. If you're like me, I don't feed a lot of people in my house, so I don't need butter in bulk. Okay, that's just not going to work for me. But maybe at your house it does. Maybe the pet food that you buy is better in bulk. So we're going to talk about a few of those things. So the first thing that we're going to start with is ground beef. Now this one I am in full support of for a few reasons, but we'll go through some of those. We'll see if it's worth your time. I'm going to start with 80-20. That's kind of the middle ground for me. So some people might have 93-7 or 90-10. Those are going to be more expensive versus maybe a 73-27. So we're going to go 80-20, and that's what I'm going to base all of this on. So if you go to Sam's Club right now, you can get a 10-pound log. I know that sounds crazy, of ground beef, and you can get that for about $49. It varies by price once they actually price that out. That's about $4.58 a pound if you go over to Sam's Club. Now if you go to Walmart, they have a 5-pound log. So this right here, I've got a 3-pound. It also comes in a 5-pound. So one 5-pound log is about $24.43. It's about $4.89 a pound, so it's a little bit more by the pound over at Walmart. So you get 2 of those, you're still paying around $49. So if you get 2 of those, now we're at the same price as we would at Sam's. So it looks like maybe we don't buy in bulk when it comes to 10 pounds at a time. So if you go over to United, they have 3-pound rolls. So we would have to multiply that by 3 and a little bit more. Now you're going to spend about $51 if you're needing 10 pounds at a time. Now I like doing 10 pounds at a time or 3 pounds at a time, and I'm going to show you why. So we have this 3-pound roll right here. If you get this in bulk, you can take this, you can divide it up into 4-ounce portions. So the portion size of beef, and I put that in quotes, is 4 ounces uncooked, which turns into about 3 ounces cooked. So here's what we're going to do with this. So I have a digital scale, and I'm going to put this on these units over here on ounces. And then I have these little freezer bags. And these are just kind of the small ones. So once you get this home, you'll want to do this within a few days of you bringing this home. But I'm just going to put that on there. There's probably a better way to do that in terms of cleanliness, but I'm not going to cut through this plastic. And we're going to use gloves and wash our hands and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to cut the bottom off of this, not going through the plastic. And then I'm going to cut the sides up. Now, if you are squeamish to not wanting to see ground beef, or you have the ick with that, or chicken, this you can hand off to somebody else in the family. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit. I covered this in plastic wrap so that we don't have to sanitize it. You should afterwards anyway, but just so we don't get things too dirty. And then I'm going to do this until I have about a 4-ounce portion. So a little bit more, a little bit more. I pressed it down so that counts. And if you don't have a digital scale, you can do this. You can get a measuring cup and do it like that, or you could just eyeball it. It's really up to you. So I'm going to take one of these bags. If you have somebody who can hold this for you so you don't get the ground beef everywhere, that's fine. You can also just take a paper towel and some sanitizer and just wipe off the outsides of these. We're going to do this. We're going to eliminate all of the air. And then we're going to press these down until they're flat. So if you have smaller bags, that's fine. If you have bigger bags, you can also do this, put this in a gallon-size bag, and then just score it to 4-ounce portions. So we're going to make this as flat as possible for 2 reasons. One, for storage space. So imagine you have about 15 of these, because if you go and you get a 10-pound roll, that's going to give you about 38 to 40 portions, just depending on what size it actually comes out to. So 40, if you have 38 to 40 bags just like this, it's going to take up a lot of room in your freezer. So the more that you put these and you flatten them out, the more that you can put in your freezer. So if you have a big bowl, you can go through, you put them in a big bowl, call it good, you can put that in your freezer. So the other reason why I like doing it like this is it's going to defrost faster. So if you're like, all right, we have a bunch of beef, cool, now I need this recipe and I need 8 ounces, I need 16 ounces, I need 2 pounds, whatever that is, you're going to go through, take out as many of those bags as you need, and they're going to defrost faster than if you were trying to defrost a whole 1-pound roll or a 5-pound or a 3-pound roll, any of those sorts of things. So with that ground beef, I do have a recipe I'm going to show you. This one is super simple. It's probably got a lot of ingredients that you may have at home. If not, I'm going to show you the most expensive part of this, and hopefully it's not going to do too much to your budget. While we do that though, so I have some ground beef here that I seasoned up, and right whenever you get to the end, when it's done or right before done, we're going to add in some garlic. Now here's another one of my buying in bulk secrets that I like. I don't know about you, I love garlic. Love it so much. So if you go to Sam's Club, they have a bag, and I'm talking this big of a bag, for about $6 that is just peeled garlic. Take that home, put that in a food processor, chop it up really small by hand. If you don't have a food processor, I'm so sorry about that. Put them in the bags just like we did with the ground beef, and then you can score out these little like 1 tablespoon portions. And so this was in the freezer. If I need some garlic, we're going to go through here. I can just open this up. I can dump out however many of those that I need, and it's going to defrost and also season what I have. This is really good because I bought this at the store, and this was probably $5 or $6 by itself. When you do that, I think I got, there were a bunch of these. There were like 8 or 10 of these bags full. It was a lot of garlic. It's lasted us a few months. So if you can, and you like garlic, you use a lot of garlic, go ahead and buy it in bulk. That's a good one that I would definitely say buy that one in bulk. It's worth your while. You have to do a little bit of work for it, but that's okay. All right, so I've got this ground beef. This is our 80-20. I did strain out any of the grease in the water that was in there. Obviously, if you get a higher type of beef, you're not going to have as much, but we took some out anyway. So once we're here at the end, I'm going to turn that up to about a medium. We're also going to add in about a teaspoon of ginger. Now this is like ginger paste. If you have, the stuff up in the cabinet, that's fine too. But ginger, that's going to give it, some flavor. Now the other things that we have going in this dish, and I'm going to turn this up to about say a medium high. You're gonna let this cook for about 2 minutes. So you can let all of those flavors, you don't want to burn the garlic, but you definitely want it to cook into that meat with that ginger. Now the other things that we have for this recipe, it's going to be soy sauce. I have a low sodium soy sauce. This, we usually always have one of these in the refrigerator that, you know, we used for that one recipe, and now we still have some and we're wondering, what do I do with that? This is something that you can do. Now this right here, sesame seed oil, this is going to be the most expensive thing in this recipe. So that thing alone was right under $10. Everything I spent on this recipe was about $20. So half of my cost was from this sesame oil by itself. But I will tell you, a little bit goes a long way. So if you buy it, you can use that for several different recipes, and it should last you a long time. So the most expensive thing, right under $10, but it should get you through a lot of different recipes. So we've got 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm going to add that in there. We've got a tablespoon of the sesame oil, and I would say a tablespoon is like even maybe a little bit too much. Once you eat this, you're going to be like, that's very sesame. Yeah, we know. And then I'm going to also take some onions. So these are green onions. It says 2. I don't know about you. They don't come in packs of 2. I chopped them all up, and you can really do this however much onion that you want. If you don't want a whole lot, cool. We'll use some of this as a garnish. But if you do want, I like onion, love it. So I could put a lot of it in here and it would be just fine with me. So the thing that makes this very cost effective is, first of all, imagine that you bought this ground beef 2 weeks ago. So you go to the store, you're looking at this recipe. Now all of a sudden, you don't have to buy the beef. You can just buy all of the other ingredients, and that's going to save you about $5 to $6. So I think this one was 4. This one was maybe 3, so 7, 10, 11, $12 minus the ground beef. And this is supposed to make, I think, 4 servings. So your grocery bill is not going to be a lot. And that's what I love about having to buy beef and chicken and stuff in bulk, is that you have that for the next few weeks. And so it makes your grocery bill go down because you've already got your protein. So we're going to put this over some rice. Let's talk about rice. So the healthiest rice that you're going to find is going to be whole grain and also brown and wild rice. You can also get basmati rice. It's low sodium, it's pretty low fat, but that's one of the most expensive rices that you can buy. So white rice, that's going to be about 92 cents for a 16-ounce bag. The brown rice is about 88 cents for a 16-ounce bag. Wild rice is going to be about $2.50 to $5 or more. Basmati rice is $2.50 to about $9, just depending on what brand that you get. And then the jasmine rice is about $1.50 to $5, just depending on how much you need and what kind of brand that you're going to use. So my best bet for you is to go brown rice if you're looking for it to have health benefits and also be pretty cheap. You can see I bought this bag. It's a 1-pound bag. I didn't use very much, and yet I got 3 cups of rice. So I've got that, and I've got 3 other portions sitting over here behind me. So we're gonna let this cook for a little bit. Now, the great thing about this recipe and all the recipes that I try to bring you is it's very customizable to what you want. So if you have some leftover vegetables that you need to get out of the freezer, out of the refrigerator, they're sitting in a can, this is a great opportunity to use those because you can saute those in there with your ground beef, and now you've got an even better recipe because you've got some vegetables added in there. I've also seen people add like an egg, kind of like a fried rice type of feel to it. You can do that. Eggs are expensive, so I get if you don't want to do that. And then I've seen people add, other green onions or other, things to the top. So you can make this however you want. This is also really good to meal prep for a few days in advance. So you can make up your rice, you can make up this, and then portion that out over 3 or 4 days. And then you've got a meal that is not very expensive. It's gonna go a long way. So that's only 2 scoops. That's probably, I'd say that's about a third. You can see how much of the bowl that it actually filled up because this makes a lot of food. And this was only a pound of ground beef. You could double that, triple that, however much that you wanted to make with that recipe, you can do that. So that is our ground beef. I like to buy it in bulk. If you're not willing to make a lot of things with ground beef over the next month, maybe you don't. I like buying in bulk, portion it out. Now you have some ground beef for any time of the week. Make a quick meal, make a quick hamburger, whatever you want for that to look like. So that's ground beef. So let's get over to chicken. Now, once again, all of these bulk things, you have to ask yourself, am I going to be using this more often than the normal family who eats chicken? So if this is not something that you need to feed a bunch of people, or you're not planning to meal prep it for 2 or 3 meals, don't buy in bulk. Why would you buy ground beef if you only need it once every 6 months because you don't like ground beef? So that's what we're asking here. So when we talk about chicken, same thing here. I'm gonna go over what you would buy at a bulk store, which is Sam's Club, and then we're gonna talk about that price compared to Walmart and to United. Once again, go look at these prices. Some of these have changed over the past few days, so make sure that you look before you go shop. So if we go to Sam's Club, here's what we're paying for each of the following. So $2.77 a pound for chicken breast. So if you bought one of their, pre-packaged all-together chicken breast, you're gonna pay about $16 around about. We're looking at $1.28 a pound for chicken thighs. That's going to be one of the cheapest cuts of chicken that you can use. We're looking at 98 cents a pound for drumsticks, which I don't think a lot of people use that in everyday recipes. And then if you want the tenderloins, which is just the chicken breast cut up, it's $3.50 a pound. You can buy a bag, a 6-pound bag, for about $21 of those tenderloins. One of the other things I love while we're on Sam's Club and chicken, they do have a bag of mesquite grilled, fully cooked chicken breast. I love those because, once again, fully cooked, already seasoned. I don't have to do it. You can bring one of those out the night before. It can thaw. You can put it in whatever recipe that you want. Let's go over to Walmart though. So if we're looking at chicken, you're gonna do $2.67 a pound for chicken breast. Depending on name brand or not name brand, you're looking at about anywhere between $9 and $12 for chicken breast. So you're doing a little bit less on the per pound, but you may not be getting as much. $1.77 a pound to $4.37 a pound for chicken thighs, just depending on what brand and what size that you get. So that's about $9 to $15. $1.19 a pound to $1.98 a pound for drumsticks. And then about $3.94 to $6 a pound for tenderloin. So you're looking at $7 to $11 on there. Now they do have some bulk bags at all of these places that you can go and get. Let's go to United as well, because they have some of the same things. So about $4 to $6 a pound for chicken breast. So you're getting a higher up price. You're probably looking at a better quality because it looks like they actually cut those in-house. So you may be getting a better quality, but you are going to pay a little bit more on the price. About $1.99 a pound for chicken thighs, $1.99 a pound for drumsticks, about $5.50 a pound for tenderloins. So once again, if you're going to buy in bulk with chicken, first figure out what type of chicken that you want, and then think about, is 6 pounds, is 7 pounds of chicken something that I can afford right now that I'm going to be able to use within the next month or 2 months. If not, it's probably not worth your time to actually buy in bulk if you're not going to use it within the next few months. Also, any of these ground beef or chicken, the prices of those are going to go down once you go into closer to a holiday. For example, we're getting really close to Easter, so a lot of these meats are going to be on sale, especially if you look at roasts or you look at hams. All of those are going to be on sale. I have another whole episode about finding those, making a food budget and finding those prices and stuff like that. So just make sure that you're looking at the circulars, you're looking at your apps, make sure that you're looking at those things so you can find the best price. And just know that if you're not going to use it within the next 2 months, it may not be worth your while to buy in bulk. But once you know that you will, that's when you can go ahead and get on those savings. So another thing that we talked about too, buy in bulk, are paper towels and toilet paper. Now, once again, if you don't have a house full of people, this may not apply to you, because who needs 24 rolls of toilet paper or paper towels? If you want to, you can do that cost up front. If you're trying to work on a budget and you only have 2 people in your house or 3 people in your house, it may not be beneficial for you to buy in bulk. But if you have a big family or you use a lot of paper towels, maybe you're a messy person or you use a lot of toilet paper, for whatever reason that may be in your mind, maybe you should buy in bulk. So let's talk about paper towels. So I'm going to use Viva, I'm going to use Bounty, and I'm going to use a store brand at each one of these so you can kind of get a feel for what are the top brands, what are the store brands. Obviously the store brand, people have, you know, their opinion on whether it's as good as a name brand. I'll let you make that decision for yourself. So let's go to Sam's Club first. So all the way over here on the side, let's look at the prices first and then I'll show you. So 12 rolls for about $28. It's about 1,500 sheets total. Their store brand has 15 rolls for $20 and you're getting 2,200 sheets plus for actually less than what you would pay for Bounty. So this over here is what you would get if you go to Sam's Club. Once again, do you need 34 regular rolls of paper towels? If not, this is not for you. I like doing this if I have the extra $20 in my pocket. That way I don't have to buy these for the foreseeable future. And then if you know you're getting into a point where you will need more paper towels, you're having more outdoor picnics, or you're just a messier person in the summertime, I have some extras on hand. So that was Sam's Club. So that's our bulk if you're going to buy in bulk. Let's go to Walmart. So if we go to Bounty, you're going to get 12 rolls for about $33. So now we're upping the price by about $5. You're going to get 12 rolls of Viva for about $29 and the store brand 12 rolls for about $16. And then we'll go to United. So this one, once again, the prices are a little bit more, but you may be getting a better product. So Bounty, you're going to get 8 rolls for about $23. You're going to get $25 for 1,500 sheets. You would have to buy multiples because they don't have one that is, you know, a 12 roll or a 20 roll that we see here. So once again, buying in bulk, think to yourself, am I going to be using this for the next few months? Do I need that many paper towels or toilet paper over the next 2 months? If not, don't waste your money buying in bulk, because you're just going to waste your money that you probably need to be saving for something else. Let's talk about toilet paper. Same thing. So I'm going to use Quilted Northern, Charmin, and the store brand. Those are kind of the top 2 brands, and then also a store brand. So let's start at Sam's because that's going to be our bulk buying. You can get 32 rolls for $32. You get about 7,300 sheets of toilet paper for Charmin. If you go Quilted Northern, you're going to get 32 rolls, $18 to $21, so a little bit cheaper for the same amount you would get for Charmin in rolls, may not be sheets. You're going to get about 500 more sheets for less money. And then the store brand, you're going to get 45 rolls for $23. That may not be a bad buy if you're willing to buy the store brand. It's 10,000 sheets of toilet paper. That should get you through, you know, a few weeks and months, hopefully more than 2 months. All right, let's go over to Walmart. So same thing here. We're going to go Charmin, you get about 30 rolls for $33. It's only 1,200 sheets. Quilted Northern, you get about 30 rolls for $26. You're looking at 7,600 sheets. Store brand, you're going to get 30 for about $25, about 7,200 sheets. And then let's go to United. So Charmin, you're going to get 24 rolls for about $27, 6,300 sheets. Quilted Northern, 18 rolls for $19 to $22. That's about 4,500 sheets. And then the store brand, you can get about 18 rolls for about $16. So the store brand, if you're going to buy in bulk, the store brand seems to be where you're going to save the most money. Once again, if you look right now and you go, we've gone through 32 rolls in 3 months, it may be good for you to buy in bulk because you're going to use it. But if you're just a normal toilet paper user, you're by yourself, you don't use a lot, or 1 or 2 people in the house, it may not be worth it to buy in bulk unless you have that extra $20, $25. And all of this is based on your budget. So maybe you have a paycheck where it's got a little bit of overtime pay, or you got a raise, or income tax comes in. Start thinking about those things that you can buy in bulk, and think, am I going to use these? I think we all think buying in bulk is cool until we don't use it. So I don't use a lot of pasta in my house, so it would be pointless for me to buy in bulk pasta when I'm only going to use it for 1 recipe every 6 months. So start having those discussions in your household or with yourself and think about, where can I start saving some money? So for me, it's in the ground beef, it's in the chicken. Buying that in bulk one time means that every week my grocery bill is only maybe $20 to $30 to feed 2 people for a week when I already bought the protein that I needed maybe 4 weeks ago. So that's it for today. Every week we're going to bring you something that hopefully we can save some money on our grocery bills. We're going to be talking recipes. We're going to be talking about fast food, copycats that maybe you can do at home. But for now, we're going to let you go and we'll see you next time.